That's the worst thing that we ever go through as a police department.
The NYPD in pain and honoring one of its own.
There wasn't a person in the 102 precinct that did not know Brian, from the cleaner up to the commanding officer.
Tonight, a salute, a sea of lights on the LIE, and a tribute from New York's bravest for a detective who made the ultimate sacrifice.
When somebody passes away, we immediately say, he was the greatest person that ever lived. Brian Simonson was the greatest person that has ever lived.
Good evening, I'm Maurice Dubois.
And I'm Christine Johnson. Tonight, New Yorkers remember a man known as a cop's cop. He served our city for nearly 19 years until he was shot and killed by friendly fire while responding to a robbery. Tonight, investigators are still processing the scene at the Queens cell phone store, where 42 shots were fired in 11 seconds.
We're also learning more about the suspect in the robbery that led to the shooting, who's been arrested 25 times. Valerie Castro has more on that suspect and the investigation, but our coverage begins with Allie Bauman, live tonight in Richmond Hill. Allie.
Detective Brian Simonson spent his entire 19-year career with the NYPD at this precinct. This is where he first went on patrol. It's where he got promoted up the ranks. And now this is where he will be remembered as a great police officer and missed as a dear friend. NYPD officers light a line of candles outside the 102nd precinct, honoring 42-year-old Detective Brian Simonson.
He was the definition of a cop's cop. There wasn't a person in the 102 precinct that did not know Brian, from the cleaner up to the commanding officer. Everyone in that precinct knew Brian, knew him well.
Even the corner deli Simonson frequented has a small memorial.
We lost, a good guy, a good friend.
Police officials say Simonson had been offered the night off Tuesday after representing his precinct at a union meeting that morning, but the detective chose to work. He was surveilling the Richmond Hill area with Sergeant Matthew Gorman when the two responded to a robbery. Simonson was killed in an unfortunate case of friendly fire.
I was at the hospital earlier today. I visited with Sergeant Gorman, and he's still being treated for the leg wound, but I can tell you, he's not the least bit concerned about his own injury. He's overcome by the emotion of losing his friend and his partner, Brian Simonson.
Tonight, a police caravan drove the detective's body from a Bronx hospital past an FDNY tribute to a funeral home in Mattituck, Suffolk County, where officers lined the entrance in salute. Earlier, Simonson's neighbors in Calverton tied blue and black ribbons outside the home he shared with his wife, Leanne, a nurse.
Probably the best guy I ever knew in my life. He was like one of my best friends.
Simonson grew up on Long Island. He was captain of the football team at Riverhead High School, where he picked up the nickname Smiles for his infectious optimism.
When somebody passes away, we immediately say, he was the greatest person that ever lived. Brian Simonson was the greatest person that has ever lived.
As a department, we will never forget Brian and his sacrifice. His legacy is one of unflinching service, and now the ultimate sacrifice.
Detective Simonson traveled 65 miles to and from work every day. He was 1 year shy of being eligible for retirement. We're live outside the 102nd precinct in Richmond Hill, Queens. Allie Bauman, CBS 2 News.
Allie, thank you.